weekend trips with his buddies, all from the joint account. Meanwhile, I covered groceries, the kids' clothes, school supplies, the dog's vet bills, and every household item from toilet paper to dish soap. When I brought it up, he'd say I was being petty. We're married. Stop keeping score. But the score was always in his favor. The separate budget idea came after I bought a $600 stand mixer I'd saved for months. Kyle saw the box and lost it. $600 on a kitchen gadget? You spent $800 on a golf club last month. Golf is networking. That mixer just sits on a counter. 2 days later, he walked in with a spreadsheet. We should do separate finances. You handle your stuff, I handle mine. Bills split 50-50. He was smiling like he'd outsmarted me. I said okay. He blinked. Just like that? Just like that. We split everything the next day, 50-50. He looked so proud of himself. What Kyle didn't realize was how much I'd been carrying. I did all the grocery shopping. Every week, $160 to $200 feeding a family of 4 plus his parents every Sunday. I bought all the kids' stuff. Diapers for the baby, school lunches for our 5-year-old, shoes every 3 months. I paid for cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, birthday gifts for his nieces and nephews. I booked the vet, the dentist, the babysitter. None of that was on his spreadsheet. The first week of separate budgets, I bought groceries for myself and the kids. Normal stuff, but I stopped buying Kyle's protein shakes, his fancy coffee, his lunch meat, his beer. When he opened the fridge and found no beer, he looked at me confused. Did you forget to grab beer? That's your grocery, separate budgets. He laughed like I was joking. I wasn't. By Wednesday, he'd spent $40 on takeout because he didn't know what to cook and there was nothing for him in the fridge. Thursday, he realized he was out of deodorant and body wash because I'd always added those to the cart. He drove to the store himself for the first time in maybe 2 years. Then came Sunday. Every Sunday for 6 years, Kyle's parents drove 40 minutes to our house for a big lunch. I'd cook for hours. Roast chicken or brisket, sides, dessert, the whole thing. His mother expected it. His father expected it. Kyle expected it. This was the first Sunday under separate budgets. I woke up early, fed the kids, and took them to the park. Kyle was still sleeping. I didn't cook anything. I didn't set the table. I didn't defrost meat or preheat the oven. I just left. Kyle called me around 11. Hey, my parents are coming in an hour. What's for lunch? I don't know. What are you making? Silence. What do you mean, what am I making? You always cook Sunday lunch. With my money, my groceries, my time. We're separate now, Kyle. Your parents, your budget, your menu. He hung up on me. When I got back with the kids around 1, his parents were already there. I walked in and his mother was standing in the middle of the kitchen with her hand over her mouth. The counters were empty. The stove was cold. The dining table had nothing on it. She turned to me and screamed. What happened? Where is lunch? Is something wrong? Is someone in the hospital? Kyle was standing by the fridge looking like he wanted to disappear. His father sat in the living room chair, arms crossed, staring at Kyle like he'd never seen him before. Kyle, his mother said, voice shaking, you told me everything was fine. You said lunch was handled. I thought he started. You thought I'd what? I said. Cook a meal I'm not eating with groceries I didn't buy for a dinner you didn't plan? We have separate budgets now. That was your idea. His mother turned on him. You don't cook for your family? You don't feed your own parents when they visit? She always does it, Kyle said. Because she always did it? That's your answer? His father stood up. We raised you better than this. Your mother cooked every meal for 30 years and you can't even boil water for your own wife and kids? Kyle tried to redirect. She agreed to this. She's making a point. The point is making itself, I said. His mother didn't stay. She told Kyle she was embarrassed and that she didn't raise a man who couldn't take care of his household. His father didn't say a word to him on the way out, which was worse. That night, Kyle sat at the kitchen table with the spreadsheet in front of him. He'd added up everything I used to handle. The number was almost triple what he thought I spent. The next Sunday, Kyle cooked for his parents himself. It was terrible, but he did it. The privilege is over, my husband said, slamming a spreadsheet on the kitchen table. He wanted separate budgets. I agreed. I already knew he'd regret it. On Sunday, as usual, my in-laws came for lunch. But when my mother-in-law walked into the kitchen, she screamed so loud that even the neighbors ran outside. I've been married to Kyle for 6 years. I work full-time as a dental hygienist. He works in sales. We make about the same money. But from the beginning, Kyle treated our money like his money and my money like our money. He'd buy golf clubs, gaming setups, weekend trips with his buddies, all from the joint account. Meanwhile, I covered groceries, the kids...
These brain rots are rarer than the strawberry elephant, because even though the strawberry elephant is the best brain rot in the game, making 750 million, there are over 2,000 of them. So there actually are 5 brain rots that are rarer than. First, the Antonio, which has half as many strawberry elephants existing, meaning it's twice as rare. Then we have the Love Bear, with less than 1,000 existing. And what's crazy is that there is only 1 candy one. Then we have the Elefanto Frigo, with only 687 existing, which doesn't make sense because it literally was a mythic brain rot. Then we have the second rarest brain rot in the game, the Signore Carapace, with only 267 existing, which is insane because it used to be a legendary. And before I reveal the rarest brain rot, there are 2 brain rots that I don't have the exist counts for, but they are potentially rarer than the strawberry elephant since they just came out. The Gold, and the Fortune and Coin. And if you're wondering about the Cloverat Capat, there are already 3,000 of those. But of course, rarer than every brain rot on this list and in the game, we have the Headless Horseman, with only 138 exist. These brain rots are rarer than the Strawberry Elephant, because even though the Strawberry Elephant is the best brain rot in the game, making 750 million, there are over 2,000 of them. So there actually are 5 brain rots that are rarer than. First, the Antonio, which has half as many Strawberry Elephants existing, meaning it's twice as rare. Then we have the Love Love Bear, with
My girlfriend's quirk seemed cute at first, but after 3 years of strange habits, old-fashioned outfits, and bizarre jokes about time travel, I'm starting to seriously wonder if she's from another century. When we met in college, she told me she was from rural Georgia. That's all she'd say. Every time I asked about her childhood, she'd change the subject or give me one-word answers. She wears corsets and layers of petticoats every single day. Not costumes, actual historical undergarments from different eras. A Victorian corset with a 1920s slip. Medieval-style overdress with 1950s shoes. She mixes centuries like most people mix patterns. When we watch historical movies, she corrects every tiny detail. Not big stuff. She points out that metal buckles wouldn't exist until 1640, that the laces should be in front, not back, that cutlery is wrong for the time period. Last month, we watched a period drama, and she spent 20 minutes explaining why the Christmas decorations were historically inaccurate. I asked where she learned all this. Library books, she said. Couldn't remember which ones. She takes 5 seconds to remember her birthday every time someone asks. Sometimes she says the month first, sometimes the day. Her accent changes depending on who she's talking to. Southern in the morning, British phrases by noon, Shakespearean after watching period films. 2 weeks ago, she made a joke about living through 2012 3 times. I laughed, but didn't get it. When I asked what she meant, she just said never mind and walked away. Last Sunday, I was looking for batteries in her closet. That's when I found it. A leather photo album tucked behind her vintage dresses. The photos were from the 1990s. A little girl maybe 7 or 8 years old wearing normal kid clothes. T-shirts, jeans, nothing historical. In every photo, she was next to a woman in a hospital bed. The woman looked tired, but she was smiling. In one picture, they were reading a thick book together. I could see the title, Victorian Fashion and Social History. On the back of that photo, someone had written in shaky handwriting, Mama's Last Good Day, County Library, March 1998. I heard her keys in the door. My stomach dropped. She walked in carrying groceries and saw me holding the album. All the color drained from her face. For a full minute, neither of us said anything. Then she set the bags down and sat on the floor right there in the hallway. Her mom died when she was 8, ovarian cancer. Before she got too sick, they'd go to the county library every Thursday. It was the only place her mom had enough energy to take her. They couldn't afford books, so they'd just sit there for hours. Her mom loved history, especially the Victorian era. She'd pull books off the shelves and they'd look at the pictures together. Clothing, architecture, daily life. Her mom would tell her stories about what it might have been like to live back then. After she died, my girlfriend kept going to that same library. Every Thursday, same table. She'd pull out the same books they'd read together. At 12, she taught herself to sew using a YouTube tutorial on the library computer. Started making the clothes from those books, the ones her mom loved. She said wearing them makes her feel like her mom's still here, like they're still sitting at that table looking at pictures together. Every time she laces up a corset or pins her hair the Victorian way, it's like spending another Thursday with her. The accent thing, she barely spoke for years.
the hardest brain rot from St. Patrick's in Steal a Brain Rot. Many might think I'm talking about Fortunu and Koinuru, Gold 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 or Snailo Clovero, because they are the 3 hardest brain rots from the Leprechaun Lucky Blocks. But no, there are only 4,000 units of this brain rot that can only be obtained through the Lucky Pot, an event that appears every 2 hours. And it has a very low chance of spawning. It generates 60 million per second and costs 15 billion. If you get it with Rainbow or Divine Mutation, it generates the same as a base Meowl, which is an OG brain rot. And if you guessed it, comment it. I'm talking about Clover at Claphat, the hardest brain rot from St. Patrick's in Steal a Brain Rot. Many might think I'm talking about Fortunu and Koinuru, Gold 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 or Snailo Clovero, because they are the 3 hardest brain rots from the Leprechaun Lucky Blocks. But no, there are only 4,000 units of this brain rot that can only be obtained through the Lucky Pot, an event that appears every 2 hours. And it has a very low chance of spawning. It generates 60 million per second.
Juruan Musturu, Agarrini La Palina, Festive 6-7, Carker Sahur, Reinito Sleyito, Juruan Musturu, Agarrini La Palina.
Guys, it happened again. I found an OG Meow on a public server. So I was just server hopping before Taco Tuesday and the craziest thing happened. Trust me guys, wait to the end. You will not believe it. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, please. Please don't be a Joe, don't be a Joe, don't be a Joe, please. No, you are trolling.
The new traits from the 8 event in Steal a Brain Rot. In this new event, we can see decorative objects in the sky, but we'll also see colored balloons that will be randomly applied to brain rots, each balloon giving a different multiplier. The pink balloon has a multiplier of 7, the orange balloon of 4, the blue balloon of 5, the green balloon also of 5, the red balloon of 6, and the best of all, the rainbow balloon multiplying by 8. So if you get a strawberry elephant with this balloon, it will generate 5.6 billion per second with just this trait. And if you've wondered what a brain rot looks like with all the balloons, this is what it looks like. The new traits from the 8 event in Steal a Brain Rot. In this new event, we can see decorative objects in the sky, but we'll also see colored balloons.
It's probably one of one since it has chocolate and 3 other mutations. Like dog. Oh my gosh, you missed. Wait. Wait, please, wait, nobody just stepped on the stairs. Let's go! Oh my god. 1,000 IQ. Oh my gosh. No way. Oh my gosh, let's go. Please. Oh my, perfect. Let me up. Oh my gosh. Off his head. Oh. Yo, I'm insane. I'm actually insane. Oh my gosh. What up? He's so lost. Oh wow. Oh my gosh, he has a 1 of 1 chocolate Ketchup Pat. We do it for my little romantic. Bro, this actually is probably 1 of 1 since it has chocolate and 3 other mutations. Like dog. Oh my gosh, you missed. Wait, please, wait, nobody just stepped on the stairs. Let's go! Oh my god. 1,000 IQ. Oh. No way he has a Capitano Moby. We do it for my little secret? Please, bro. There's no way he's doing this, bro. I've wanted one of these for so long. No way, bro. Wait, watch this trick. Wait, that was perfect. Wait. Oh my gosh, let's go. No way he falls for it twice in a row, bro.
Capitano Moby.
Gosh. Oh my gosh, that was a perfect hit. What? Oh my gosh. Wait, that's perfect. Let's go.
Capitano Moby.
Wait, no. Please. Let's go. No way he has a Capitano Moby. We do it for my little secret? Please, bro. There's no way he's doing this, bro. I've wanted one of these for so long. No way, bro.
My brother was always the golden child. Parents paid his rent, bought him a house, even cleared his debts. At Christmas dinner, he found out I quietly built a $25 million company on my own. He fell to the floor crying and demanded I give him at least $15 million while mom screamed that I stole his future. I was 10 when I realized I was the insurance policy and my brother, Leo, was the investment. Leo was the star. He had the charm, the sports trophies, and the uncanny ability to blow through 5-figure sums of my parents' money without ever being asked for a receipt. By the time I was 24, my parents had mortgaged their soul to buy Leo a 3-bedroom condo. They told me I should be proud of his success. His success was literally just existing on their dime. Meanwhile, I lived in a studio apartment that smelled like damp cardboard and worked 16-hour days. I was the difficult son because I stopped asking them for help after they forgot my college.
When did you realize your parents shouldn't have had kids? Growing up, my parents only rewarded me and my siblings for one thing, telling on each other. I grew up as the middle child of 4 siblings, the type to be forgotten. It was like I could always see what everyone else was blind to. Because even though my parents thought they had us in control, I was the one they were wrong about. You see, my older brother Nate would do anything for daddy's love. One time when me and him were alone in my room together, I accidentally spilled a drop of cranberry juice on the beige carpet. I felt like a deer in headlights. Immediately, I took off my t-shirt, spit on it, and vigorously rubbed it into the material. Nate was already walking down the stairs by the time he realized what was going on. Neil just spilled his juice all over the floor upstairs. He's so clumsy. I didn't hear anything else being said, just the unmistakable unmistakable sound of my dad's footsteps walking over to the nearest drawer and grabbing what sounded like the black leather whip. I didn't do anything, just lay on my front side of my bed with a pillow in my mouth to stop myself from screaming too loudly. 1, 2, 3. I didn't get dinner that night. And while I spent the next few hours crying into my bed sheets, I could hear Nate downstairs being treated like a king for telling on me. "You are so mature, my handsome boy," my mom said, her voice practically beaming through the house. "I'm so proud of you," our dad bellowed. At the time, I was just 4 years old, while Nate was 6. That same year, our younger twin sisters were born, and that's how I ended up being raised by 5 surveillance cameras. My parents gave them the same treatment they gave me and Nate. They acted like the world's greatest parents until their 3rd birthday. And from there, they'd withhold all affection from them. No nice words, no hugs, nothing. Unless they did one thing, start telling on each other. By the time I was 10, I had been wailed on more times than I can count. Not cleaning my room properly, leaving leftover crumbs on my plate, crying too loudly, wearing clothes that showed any indication of my injuries. Meanwhile, my siblings only got it once or twice a year. Because from all the punishment, I learned one thing. It was the last thing I wanted to inflict on my siblings. So even when I caught them doing things, I'd never tell on them. Heck, sometimes I'd even take the blame for it. And in some ways, it paid off. Like Nate and the twins always felt safest around me. But none of them returned the favor. Not once. Because there was something they loved more than me, and that was our parents. Over time, it was clear that I was getting the most amount of punishment. But instead of attributing that to my kindness towards them, or the fact I was simply just a good person, everyone started seeing me as the troublemaker. Suddenly, nothing I did was ever enough. If I snored too loudly and annoyed one of my siblings, my mattress would get taken away for the rest of the week. If I accidentally used Nate's cologne instead of my own, no showering for the next 3 days. By the time I turned 18, my idea of family was so distorted that when I saw loving parents or siblings on TV, I would get angry about how fake it was. I had spent so much of my life simply surviving that when college season finally came, I literally had a GPA of 1.0. But there was one thing I knew with all my heart. There was no way I could spend another second in my home. So when it was time to move out, I paid one of my classmates to let me sleep on the floor of their dorm room. I remember being extremely stressed when his parents came over to visit for Thanksgiving. My heart was pounding for the entire week, and I made sure to be perfect, just as my parents always taught me. So when they came and I opened the door after they knocked twice instead of once, I closed my eyes super tight to brace myself for what was to come. But instead of beating me senseless, they thanked me for opening so soon. His mom even gave me a hug. For the rest of the night, I was on my best behavior, completely silent, tense, ready to clean up anything. And when his parents left, it was over. My friend screamed at me for being a worthless piece of shiorit, for not being able to do anything properly. Well, the best liar is your childhood trauma, because what actually happened was him hugging me and thanking me for being so accommodating to his parents. That's when I realized how psychotic my parents really were. And the next day, I got the phone call. It was my twin sister, Kayla. She was whispering so quietly that it could have been mistaken as the sound of an exhale. "Please help me, I'm sorry," was all she said, before immediately hanging up the phone. My heart broke. And the very next day, I drove around to the house to bring her to my friend's dorm. When we got there, she showed me her stomach and my jaw dropped. It was clear that when I left, my family needed a new punching bag, so to speak. And that was Kayla. I treated all her wounds while she apologized over and over again. But I had no resentment towards her, or any of my siblings for that matter, because all my hatred was directed towards just 2 people, my parents. Full story on channel, link below. When did you realize your parents shouldn't have had kids? Growing up, my parents only rewarded me and my siblings for one thing, telling on each other.
Why does no one in my family live past 50? My mom turned 49 last week, and my grandmother Delilah immediately moved her into the transition suite on the 3rd.
I spent 6 months doing my coworker's job while she took credit. And when I finally started saying no, she went to HR claiming I created a hostile work environment. So I pulled out receipts. I started working at a marketing firm right out of college and stayed for 8 years. I worked my way up from assistant to senior account manager through long hours and consistent results. I earned every promotion and every raise by being reliable and competent. When new employees joined our team, I helped train them because I remembered how overwhelming the job felt at first. I wanted to be the kind of coworker I wished I'd had when I was starting out. That generosity came back to bite me when Iris joined the company. Iris was hired as an account coordinator, the same position I held years ago. She was supposed to handle basic client communications, schedule meetings, prepare reports, and support the senior staff. During her first week, our manager asked me to show her the systems and answer any questions. I agreed because I always agreed to help with onboarding. Iris asked a lot of questions that first week. I thought that was a good sign. She seemed eager to learn, and I appreciated her enthusiasm. I spent hours walking her through processes and explaining how things worked. I gave her templates I'd created over the years to make her job easier. I shared shortcuts I'd discovered through trial and error. I basically handed her a roadmap to success if she wanted to use it. She didn't want to use it. What Iris wanted was for me to do her work while she got credit for it. It started small. She asked me to proofread a client's email before she sent it. Then she asked me to edit a report because she wasn't sure about the formatting. Then she asked me to just finish the report because she was running behind. Then she started forwarding me tasks directly and asking if I could handle them since I was so much better at this stuff anyway. Within 2 months, I was doing half of Iris's job on top of my own full workload. She came to my desk multiple times a day with requests that weren't actually requests. They were expectations. She assumed I would help because I always had. She stopped trying to learn the systems because why bother when I would do everything for her. She spent her extra time chatting with coworkers, taking long lunches, and leaving early whenever possible. Our manager praised Iris for how quickly she adapted to the role. He didn't know I was the one adapting for her. I kept quiet at first because I didn't want to seem uncooperative. I told myself it would get better once she settled in. 6 months later, nothing had changed. Iris still couldn't complete basic tasks without my help. She still forwarded me work she didn't feel like doing. She still took credit for reports I wrote and presentations I designed. Meanwhile, my own performance started slipping because I was stretched too thin. I missed a deadline for the first time in 5 years because I was too busy finishing Iris's project. I decided to stop. I didn't make an announcement. I didn't confront her. I just started saying no. When Iris forwarded me a task, I forwarded it back and said she should try using the templates I gave her. When she asked me to proofread something, I said I was too busy with my own work. When she asked me to just finish something real quick, I said I couldn't and suggested she ask our manager for an extension if she was overwhelmed. Iris did not handle this well. The first week of saying no, she laughed and said I must be joking. The second week, she got annoyed and asked what my problem was. The third week, she started complaining to coworkers that I was being difficult and unhelpful. In the fourth week, she went to HR. I got called into a meeting with our HR representative and my manager. They said a colleague had filed a complaint about my behavior. They said I was creating a hostile work environment by refusing to collaborate and being cold and dismissive. They said multiple incidents had been reported where I refused to help a struggling team member. They asked if I had anything to say. I had a lot to say. I explained that I spent 6 months doing Iris's work for her. I explained that my own performance suffered because I was carrying two workloads. I explained that when I finally set boundaries, I was accused of being hostile. I asked if it was hostile to expect a colleague to do the job she was hired for. I asked if refusing to do someone else's work counted as not collaborating. My manager looked uncomfortable. He asked for specifics. I gave him specifics. I told him about the reports I wrote that had Iris's name on them. I told him about the emails I drafted that she sent. I told him about the presentations I created that she delivered. I told him I could go through my sent folder and show him exactly how much of Iris's job I had been doing. The HR representative asked Iris to join the meeting. When she walked in and saw me, her face changed. She clearly expected this would be a one-sided conversation where I got reprimanded and she got sympathy. Instead, she got questions. Full story on channel. Link below. I spent 6 months doing my coworker's job while she took credit. And when I finally started saying no,
I wanted to help my girlfriend live a happier life, but now I need therapy and a restraining order. I met Layla through mutual friends. We liked the same music and movies, and we had a shared hobby that we started doing together. After a couple of dates, I'd already fallen for her. Then after 6 months, I was already thinking about marrying her. There was just one problem. She always acted like someone was out to hurt her. She would jump at loud noises, shrink behind me if we heard yelling, and refuse to stay over at my place until I added specific locks to the door and windows. At first, I thought her nervousness was amplified around me because she was still getting to know me. But one night, we went out to eat and sat in a back corner booth like always. The meal was going great until someone in a supped-up truck drove by. The second the muffler popped, she ducked underneath the table. I had to get under the table with her and hold her until she finally agreed to come out. Anytime I've tried suggesting therapy, she shut it down, saying that I wouldn't understand. But I hated seeing her suffer. I decided I needed to figure out what happened, and maybe then I would know how to help her. I went to our mutual friends first. We all work in the same office building, just in different departments. The one who set up our first date, Kara, had an office a few down from mine. The next time I bumped into her, I asked her if I could buy her lunch, and the second we sat down at a nearby cafe, I bluntly asked her, "Do you have any idea what happened to Layla?" Kara gave me a questioning look. "Your girlfriend Layla? What do you mean?" "Her anxiety is through the roof, but she's never even given me a hint as to why. Do you know something?" Kara shook her head. "I only knew her a short while before introducing you two. The real person to talk to is Adrian. He was the one who came to me to say that she had a crush on you." I sat back in surprise. I thought our first date was a blind date where neither party knew the other. Why did Layla lie? But I had more important questions to focus on. I asked Kara, "In that case, what was your impression of her?" Kara thought for a moment, but shrugged. She seemed shy, but not like the scaredy cat you're talking about. Kara switched the topic after that, but my mind wouldn't let go of what she said. Layla was always nervous around me. Did she act differently around Kara? Once we were back at work, I found an excuse to head to the finance department where Andrian worked. I found him in the copy room, and he narrowed his eyes at me when I shut the door. "Hey, I gotta ask something. Does Layla act really nervous while at work?" "No, not nervous. She's quiet, but pretty normal." "Why? Something happened?" At this point, my brain was spinning. Did Layla act differently around Adrian too? Why? I rubbed my temple. That's what I want to know. She constantly acts terrified of the world when she's with me, but apparently, she acts normal around everyone else. Am I the problem? Adrian's face softened. "Unless you did something, I doubt it." Somehow, Layla found out that Kara and I went to high school together and still talk. She begged me for a week to ask Kara to set you two up. It was a weirdly indirect way to go about it, but I assumed she didn't know how to ask you herself. "Yeah, I thought it was a blind date." Adrian laughed. "Nope, Layla planned everything." I felt my heart drop into my gut. Something didn't feel right. My phone chimed, and I looked down at a text from Layla asking me to come over to her place after work. I was glad I picked up Laya's favorite ice cream on the way, because the second I let myself in and saw her in the living room, my blood went cold. She stood there with her arms folded, and a look in her eyes I'd never seen before. She told me that she'd seen me with Kara and asked why we were there. I was honest enough to say that I was trying to get relationship advice, but I didn't get too specific. My explanation seemed to work. I watched Layla's eyes go from wanting to kill me to the loving look they usually had. All of a sudden, she thanked me for bringing dessert and offered to make dinner. My voice shook a little when I said that'd be great, but that I had to use the restroom first. The second I walked down the hallway, though, I couldn't stop this sinking feeling. I wanted to run, but didn't know why. I ended up walking past the bathroom and into her bedroom without thinking. That was when I found the little yellow notebook on the bedside table. It had the words "diary" in bold on the front. A spark of hope ignited inside me. As I realized this may be my chance to understand her better, I was dead wrong. The diary started on her first day at our company, when I apparently picked up a file she dropped, and she decided we were meant to be together. The following pages were filled with notes about me, what I liked, my usual routine, and even details about my family. There was an entire section about how I grew up watching my mom get verbally and physically abused by her ex-husband, and how Layla was certain she would be irresistible to me if I thought she was someone I could save. Since there was nothing I could do for my mom as a kid, I locked the bedroom door.